This is GKW. Welcome to another edition of Good Karma Wrestling. I'm Gabe Neitzel from ESPN Milwaukee. Brian Rowitz from ESPN West Palm on the show as well this week as Jonathan Hood continues his assignments. But he should be back next week. But we got a lot of things to talk about as we head into Memorial Day weekend. Saturday night's main event coming up on Saturday. We've got Double or Nothing in Arizona for AEW. We'll get into those. Plus, we've got a conversation with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, on today's episode as well. But we're getting closer to 2 years of CM Punk being back within the WWE. And the question becomes, spent 2 years in AEW, close to 2 years in WWE. Better 2 years of CM Punk, AEW, or his second stint within the WWE, Brian?
So to me, I think about like those memorable moments. And I know a lot of people on social media were very into his moment just Monday. Like that CM Punk pop on Monday, it's almost like they weren't playing entrance music because all you heard was the crowd. It was Attitude Era, which was impressive. But in terms of like those memorable experiences and those memorable matches and feuds, like those are all in AEW to me. The MJF stuff, the CM Punk stuff. Hell, even the Hangman stuff, even though it ultimately led to
the Hangman stuff
there.
The Hangman stuff, especially early when they were kind of punching back and forth and you weren't sure. Like initially it was good. And then when you realized it was, kind of the source of what became Brawl Out, not good. But in the moment, it was really good.
But to compare that to the WWE run, the Drew stuff was good. The Heyman stuff was fun over the last couple months. But have we really seen peak CM Punk during this WWE run? And maybe we don't because that's what the WWE is, but that's why I lean AEW.
And it's funny because he went through significant injuries in both, right? Like he's missed significant time. He was beat up after Brawl Out, in the match, obviously ended up having to miss time before he came back. And then, he got injured in the Royal Rumble, his first match, back in WWE, but was still able to stay relevant within that. So it's not like you can say one way or the other. I'm with you. I kind of lean towards AEW. The Drew McIntyre stuff I thought was fantastic, but just
and a lot of that was with him hurt. Like, that was injury time. Like he made the most of his injury time there.
But he was able to work with a lot of talent. And I think ultimately his goal in AEW was to put young talent over. And again, it's just tough in WWE because there's not a lot of young talent to put over, right? Like it's a pretty stacked roster with a lot of different veterans. We ran through that a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about, the shape of the young rosters between the two companies. Like, I don't expect him to be putting over Austin Theory anytime soon, right? Like,
Cena tried that. We saw how it went.
Yeah, Punk and Theory. Yeah, that'll go really well. We can tell And I think of he first shows up and he goes up against Darby Allin, and he even though he wins the match, like obviously a big moment for Darby. You mentioned his best match since he came back was the dog collar match he had against MJF.
Right.
I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. His stuff that he got to do.
Like the MJF point, like we almost look at him as a veteran, but that's young talent. Like he elevated MJF
at that time, especially at that time.
Right.
Especially at that time. So then you also, him being able to do his stuff with FTR and be able to work with that. Like he just worked with so many different people. In AEW, really, he's had a feud with Drew McIntyre and now the feud with Seth Rollins is continuing.
Right.
And that's a part of the long-term storytelling. And I've said, I wasn't really into Punk versus Rollins. The Heyman angle makes it a little bit more interesting, but I want to see what CM Punk can do on his own, right? In WWE, because it just seems like he's been in this hodgepodge of things, whether it is helping out with the Bloodline at War Games this last year, and now it's kind of a hodgepodge of baby faces going up against the faction to be named later in WWE right now. So I want to see him kind of spread, and I was hoping he'd be able to launch off of Drew and do bigger and better things, and instead he has the really fun match with Seth on the first Raw on Netflix. And then just kind of treaded water. Yes, they got the main event of night one, but I think we kind of talked about it at the time. Like a singles match with any combination of those three would have been probably more interesting than the triple threat match, which still delivered, and they were able to do the Paul Heyman thing. But I think the more memorable matches and moments have come in AEW. The best overall feud, I would say, is him and Drew.
Okay, that's fair.
Best overall feud. Because again, him being able to carry that even when he's injured, and a lot of that's Drew too, doing
Right.
his media stuff. But then, feuds 2 through 6, 7 are probably then AEW. So the top one's WWE, but the bulk of everything he did was AEW. Although I also have a hard time saying AEW because things deteriorated to the thought he was going to get fired, and then he actually did get fired. And those are two separate incidents.
Yeah, but that added to the fun. Does your answer change if there was a title involved in the WWE? And granted, I don't see one even in the near future. There's no path there right now. There were 2 title runs technically in AEW, right? Like he won the one and the mock squash. So does that change anything for you?
If he was involved in a world championship feud, at least a feud,
Right.
it would probably change for me. Because the thing about Punk is, like, does he need a championship? No. Would I like to see him have one more WWE championship run? Absolutely. And he seems so far away from it right now. Like, realistically, I don't know how many more years he has left. Yes, he took off, 9 years or 10 years, whatever it ended up being. 7 years, I guess, before he returned to AEW. So he takes off 7 years. So he's not beating up his body doing that. Still beat up his body, doing some UFC stuff, but not to the extent of doing, pro wrestling night in and night out, the way the schedule was back in the middle 2010s. So maybe he can last. But again, as his age continues to get up there, it becomes, to me, less and less likely he ever gets that one last run with the WWE championship.
Yeah, because I feel like that elevates him, and then you have him pursuing that, and maybe we get him and Cena in a few months, and maybe that's part of the Cena farewell tour.
We will, but it's going to feel it's going to be a quick build because that's all of this is, right? Like, as much as I think we were all hoping from Cena Orton, quick build, and that's the advantage of having John Cena have history with all these different guys. Right. You can heat up these feuds quickly. But it's not going to feel like a real championship build, I think, for CM Punk. It's just going to be something quick that's done within a couple of weeks before he loses to Cena.
But I think in terms of like those memorable moments, if somehow he's the one that ends this Cena run, like
then it becomes WWE.
Wow.
Yeah,
right. Like that's all of a sudden that massive moment. If he beats Cena again and he gets the title, blows him a kiss at the end. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I think that would shift the scale a little bit.
I mean, so if I'm going, okay, so what was the better debut? His AEW debut or his WWE re-debut?
So I think it was WWE for the sheer fact that they didn't tell us. I still think that's a massive mistake by AEW. I know they sold tickets, but the fact that they told us, hey, this is happening, I think took away from the moment a little bit.
See, but I don't think it took away from the moment at all.
No, okay.
Like I really wanted it to go, but because they did it,
on a Friday night.
Pour one out for Rampage. Did it on a Friday night. Like, I could not go down to Chicago as much as I wanted to. As a huge CM Punk fan, like, I had other work obligations. But I had a friend who went down who said that's the loudest building I have ever been in.
Mm-hmm. Like, and that was still same thing. Like, I remember, like, talking about Friday nights. Like, we're involved in high school football. We're in the middle of producing a show, and I stopped. Everyone's like, "CM Punk is back," and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Like, no, we have to watch this right now.
I mean, everybody clowns on, everybody on social media likes to clown on AEW because, they're running smaller venues. They don't sell out. Brr, 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 brr. They legitimately sold out an NBA arena for one man.
Right.
For one man. Like, so to me, it's still AEW because, yes, the surprise factor of him showing up was huge and obviously doing it in Chicago, he got the big pop, but like the pop he got when he first came back at AEW, like you want to talk about not hearing, you couldn't hear his music.
Yeah.
Like people were crying in the stands. Like, so I think the better debut was AEW. I think the best feud, tilts towards WWE, but the better matches, certainly AEW.
But AEW was also benefited by they were the first one after the 9-10 years away. Like,
yeah,
the WWE one, they put the credits up. They did the whole thing. And the talent in the ring supposedly didn't know it was happening. Like, you had so many little Easter eggs there where it's like, oh, this is really happening. Like, and also the cold day in hell, like the shirt said, we're like, wait, he's back working for WWE. I think that added it for me. But like in AEW, just having the mic time, and maybe it's just a matter of they let him do whatever. And they let him do a lot. We've talked about it. We probably didn't need CM Punk versus Lee Moriarty on a Collision. Like, things like that are unnecessary.
Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it.
Of course, yes. Like, it's just those little things where it's like, all right, like, they're just more special moments. Like, to have the dog collar match, to have the promos with Eddie Kingston, like,
yeah, the Kingston stuff. Yeah, we kind of
everything.
jumped over that too.
Yeah, like, that's just so much better. And even the Mox stuff, like, it was a legit surprise when he squashed him on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't fully know why or where they were going with that, but like, it was like, oh, this is happening right now. We don't have those WWE moments, at least yet. We don't have them.
Yeah, and that's a product of a couple of things that I like WWE is doing. You talk about the random Lee Moriarty match, on a Collision on a Saturday night or taped on a Thursday, whenever that, they do save Punk in ring for pretty special occasions.
Yeah,
which I think is smart. Again, we talk about his age, and that is something that we talked about. We were hoping they would do in AEW, and they most certainly did not. Right. And part of that's probably Punk, right? Like, Punk's like, "Hey, I'm back. I want to work." That's the type of wrestler he is,
right? And
for WWE to be able to pump the brakes and control him a little bit more, like, I think that's smart for longevity purposes. Like, he got injured, freak accident in the Royal Rumble, but I think long term, that's the best thing for CM Punk. But again, it has taken away from some fun moments and some potential fun matches that you could have had with him so far in WWE.
Yeah, and there's still goals for him to accomplish. Like, to me, he still didn't really have a Mania main event. Like, we want to see him win another world title. There's going to be Cena stuff. Even a him and Cody feud, I think, would be good. I know they sort of like tease it here and there, but I feel like they could do some special stuff. So there's still a lot to do. It's just a matter of what that timeline looks like moving forward for him.
Yeah, and we're certainly going to be seeing more and more of CM Punk coming up here in WWE. But we've got some other things to dive into this week, Brian. We call it the 3 count, the other top 3 stories in the world of pro wrestling. What is number 1 this week?
A man that's main evented plenty of WrestleManias, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. We had the opportunity to chat with the Heartbreak Kid earlier this week about Cena, about NXT, and a whole lot more. Here's our conversation.
Excited for our next guest here on GKW, as he is the Hall of Famer. He is the Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. Thank you so much for the time, man.
I appreciate y'all having me. My pleasure.
So WWE basically just taking over the entire town of Tampa this weekend. Saturday night's main event, NXT Battleground on Sunday, Raw on Monday, NXT on Tuesday. From the NXT side of things, what's the best part about when you guys get to hit the road and get away from Full Sail?
Just that, hitting the road. To be perfectly honest, look, the young men and women that come through NXT, look, we love performing here in Orlando, but any chance they get an opportunity to get out on the road, even if it's down the road in Tampa, it's just an entirely different world. As you know, again, they are all aspiring to be Raw and SmackDown superstars, and they know that when they take that on, that's going to mean a lot of travel. It's going to mean going to a lot of different cities around the world, and each one of those places that they go, the audiences are going to be different. They're going to have to adjust their style to those audiences. So as exciting as it is just as a superstar to be able to get out on the road and travel, it's also, part of the development process of understanding the subtle differences between crowds and even cities, even if you're just going an hour and a half down the road. So there's a lot to be learned, obviously, from a developmental standpoint when we travel on the road. But for the most part, they're all just really, really excited and jacked and, looking forward to performing in Tampa, at this Battleground PLE.
Last time you guys hit the road was Vegas, one of the matches that stole the show, your women's division, 70 McCord, Jordan Grace this upcoming weekend. From your perspective, how difficult is it to book a women's division that is as deep as the NXT women's division?
Well, it sounds like the kind of trouble you'd want, right? But the thing is, I got to be honest, it really is challenging as we begin to move forward here, because someone's always kind of going to get left out. I guess that's the most challenging part, is that we have so many talented women, and it's hard to be able to highlight all of them. And I would argue that NXT, does such a good job of highlighting our talent. I mean, we have, 25 to 30, sometimes even 40 talent, at least ID'd on a show on any Tuesday night. But there's still plenty of other people that are waiting in the wings to jump up and have their breakout moment. So it's one of those things that obviously we're looking forward to here, over the summer, of highlighting more superstars here in NXT. So there's a lot of great stuff going to be happening coming down the pike. That's something that's already a good problem to have when you've got the kind of momentum at your back like NXT has currently.
WWE taking over Tampa this weekend. Make sure you get your tickets. Ticketmaster.com. The partnership you guys have with TNA is certainly unique, where you don't know who's going to be showing up, from TNA on NXT or NXT superstars going over to TNA. How difficult is that to try to balance and make sure that both brands and both entities are being raised and the profiles are being raised by this partnership?
Sure. Well, look, I guess from my standpoint, the only part to me that, again, is maybe difficult is, again, because they have some tape shows, and obviously ours are always live. So just kind of synchronizing that and timing that in the best way from a creative standpoint has been the most challenging to me. But look, I love surprises, in wrestling. And so the idea that we now have the opportunity to even pick from a TNA roster, that's a huge asset for us here in NXT. And then, of course, you get the added, plus of having more experienced superstars to come in and work with some of our young talent to be able to help them also while they're, gaining experience, having them also develop while they're out there in the ring with people that have been around this job for quite some time. And obviously some of them have been big WWE superstars in the past. So again, it's just been a fantastic collaboration that we have going on. The only things that are a little challenging every now and then, I think, is just timing things up creatively.
The night before Saturday night's main event in Tampa, John Cena versus RTruth. If Hunter called you for your 2 cents, who should be on the John Cena farewell tour? Who do you want to see him in the ring with one last time throughout this year?
Well, look, I have to say that, that's John's call. I think John has earned, again, the right and the opportunity to sort of, I guess I'm biased, but I think all of us, again, when you're going to, make your last run, I think you're the guy that kind of needs to call those shots. So I'm excited and very happy for John that he's getting the opportunity to do all this. It's just been something that's been fun to watch just as a guy. I'm like everybody else now. I'm just a fan sitting there watching this and enjoying, John enjoying what he's doing.
Shawn, always appreciate the time, man. Enjoy your time with NXT in Tampa. Takeover coming up for WWE. Battleground coming up on Sunday for you guys. And, of course, you'll close out on Tuesday with NXT on the CW.
Thank you, guys.
Always appreciate the time of the Hall of Famer, Shawn Michaels. Quick note, though, the tickets no longer for sale for Tuesday's show for NXT, as that has been pulled. I believe that's just going to be going back to full sale, but still have Saturday night's main event, still have the NXT show on Sunday, followed by Raw on Monday.
And it's only like 45 minutes from Tampa to Orlando, so it's fine. Just head on over to Orlando. You're fine.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What do we got at number 2 this week, Brian?
All right, we talked about it there with the Heartbreak Kid. Saturday night main event, we will see John Cena versus RTruth. Is Cena versus RTruth a wasted Cena match?
I say no. I say no, because for the longest time, even when Cena has not been around, when did this start? When did RTruth, it's been going on for so long now. I can't pinpoint the start of John Cena being RTruth's childhood hero, despite RTruth being older than John Cena. So I'm glad they found a little spot for this here on a Saturday night's main event. RTruth gets a championship match against Cena. And also, I have no problem with it because who else are we putting on this retirement tour? We've talked about Punk. Like, clearly we want to see Punk. Like, there's going to be there's been rumored tag match, involving Travis Scott, and I'm assuming Cody's going to be involved with that. I assume Cody's eventually going to win his championship back at the end of the year. I just don't know, outside of like CM Punk, who else we would even put on this retirement tour.
I mean, to me, like, I just think about some of the young talent. Like, yes, there's story here. Yes, it'll be a fun match Saturday, but like, they've made RTruth into such a comedy character for so long. You talk about, you can't remember the time he started saying this. When was the last time you remember seeing RTruth in a serious match? Like, not just a throwaway. Like, actually, I mean, I guess some of the Judgment Day stuff.
Yeah, like, but there's still an element to comedy there, because like, he was in the group, he was out of the group. I mean, not every match was a comedy match when they reunited Awesome Truth and they became tag champs.
Okay.
So probably that. Although, again, because it's Truth, there's an element to comedy. Like, honestly, the last time he was like a full-fledged heel was probably the first time they did Awesome Truth, and like Rock came back before Rock Cena. And that was like The Rock's first match back. I mean, that's probably how long it's been that there hasn't been at least a little bit of a sprinkling of some sort of comedic element with RTruth.
So that's why it feels like a missed opportunity. And we saw it with Bryan Danielson's maybe final run. Like, there was that Christian pay-per-view where it's like, this is one of the matches we're doing here. But like, if there was a young talent that could have used the rub, they didn't need to beat Cena, but just to get an opportunity like this where it's not a PLE, but there's a lot of eyes on it because Saturday night's main event, give him an opportunity to go in the ring with Cena. Like, that would have been huge. To me, this is just Cena calling his shots like Shawn Michaels just told us, and doesn't really better anyone.
But again, like, who's that young talent?
Right, which is its own WWE issue. Like, I'm trying to think of like a face that's over.
We already saw Austin Theory. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, Braun Breaker, it wouldn't make sense for Braun, because Braun's like doing his own thing, like, and also doesn't need the rub.
Right.
Because like, he's got stuff going on with a couple of other guys that are picking him up with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. So Dom would have been good. I mean, but you can still do Dom. The problem is, like, trying to fill out the rest of the Cena retirement tour is the tough part to me. So that's why I feel like doing this, especially on like a Saturday night's main event, where it's going to be a bit, it's on network television, which is obviously always going to be a big deal. But also, it's a match that, I don't have to try to talk myself into RTruth beating Cena. I can just sit back and enjoy whatever they're going to do in the ring, because RTruth isn't going to beat Cena. And you need a couple of those matches before you get to the point where you're worried about, or you're even thinking about, is this the match that Cena actually loses and he's not the last world champion, last real champion again. So I don't have a problem with it, because you need these types of things early in the Cena run.
So first of all, their roster is deplete of faces that are young that would benefit from this. I mean, even just looking at this card, what about like a Damian Priest? Like, he would lose, it would give him a big spot, and he's been in some of those, but just to get the opportunity to be in the ring with Cena.
But I mean, he's already been in, like, I don't need to, I guess I good for him, but like, he's done kind of the big stuff. That's what he did with Bad Bunny, which led to him becoming a world champion and doing a lot of the big things that he's, like, he's pretty well established because he's already a world champ.
Yeah, there's no one young that's over on this roster that would benefit from this, which is a problem.
The closest you could come is Dom.
Or if you go NXT, like an Obafemi or a Ricky Saints.
Ricky's not that young.
Well, I know, but like by their standards, like maybe.
Yeah, but has Ricky earned that opportunity? I don't watch enough. I don't watch enough NXT. Like, to be completely honest, that's not a rip on him. That's just that is an honest, legitimate question. I know he's got his match with Ethan Page coming up,
again,
which is just funny. Which is just funny.
Shout out to Rampage.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Rampage love on the show today. But like, I don't know if he's really earned that, and I doubt it, because like, this is the John Cena retirement tour. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's just a list of obvious candidates after you get past the top two really obvious ones, of Randy, who've already done, CM Punk, which is probably going to happen at some point down the line. After that,
the other one I would throw out there, I don't think it would hurt too much. If you threw in a champ versus champ, no stakes, a Cena versus Jey Uso, would that help elevate Jey to a different level?
I don't think so, because he's not going to win the match.
Right. I guess that'd be the negative. I mean, it'd be a WWE finish. You could do it that way where no one wins.
but also the problem with where Cena is right now and the way they've been telling this, it is really hard because there are certain stories you tell where you've got the young, really, because when Cena went up against the ruthless aggression promo, and then he goes up against Kurt Angle, and because Kurt was as good as Kurt was, like they had that match, and even though Kurt won, Cena came out looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to do that with the way the Cena character is and the matches that they are currently having. Yeah. It's really hard to walk away from that with a young babyface who's going to look like he's going to be, like he's going to actually get that rub and go up and over. But also it's just really hard to do with Cena. I mean, Austin Theory beat Cena. Austin Theory defeated John Cena. Didn't matter. Didn't get the rub.
Solo also?
Solo Sikoa defeated John Cena. Didn't really, I mean, other things have certainly helped Solo, but that's not one of them.
No.
Like, it's really hard to be able to get that Cena rub, which is why I think it's going to be more of a nostalgia tour for him, taking on some of the older members of the roster. Like, do we see Cena Sheamus at some point?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I guess my wish in trying to get someone over, if we turn Cena back to a face, is there a way where in his last match he's getting pinned and losing to Braun? And does that elevate Braun?
Whew, I mean, certainly
he's already up there right now. But if that's
final match, that would be strapping the rocket to Braun's back. Like everything with Braun has been little baby steps, right? Like he probably spent more time in NXT than any of us expected.
Right.
Did a really good job, with once he's gotten to WWE. But even like his Intercontinental Championship run, like he lost it, had to win it back. Like it's just these increments. It's not like they gave him this big long runway with that IC Championship. So it's just kind of these small incremental steps that they've done with him. Like this would be a huge vote of confidence. I don't know how you turn Cena back babyface at this point. I think that would be tough to do, but yeah, I think that could elevate Braun. If Braun's and you don't even have to do it as the last match, right? Like
I think that adds to it though. If you're the last one,
yeah,
like do it that way.
It certainly does.
Right.
But are we sure that he's going to go out on his back, or is he going to lose the championship and then win his last match?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Enough. I know. I feel like he goes out on his back. He's that way.
Yeah. Again, like he did the job for Theory. It's not his fault that Vince didn't do the follow through part. That's not on John. The promo where he said it doesn't matter if you beat me may have had something to do with some of that as well. But it's neither here nor there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about young talent, that would take Braun Breaker to another level. I think he's going to eventually be a world champion in WWE. I can't imagine anybody doesn't.
Right.
But if he were the one to actually pin John Cena on his way out, that would be a huge deal. That would be a huge deal and something you could do, and something that he could hold on to forever.
I mean, it's an opportunity that doesn't come up all the time to have a legend like that, to have it be the final match. We saw it in AEW with Bryan where it was booked so well, and then the way it ended was with his head in the bag, courtesy of Jon Moxley, not a young star going over, and it seems to have dropped the ball there. Also, Bryan might be back in God knows how long because that's what he does. So, it's an opportunity here for Hunter to establish young stars. We've talked about it a lot. Their roster is very old, and here is an instant cash-in opportunity. All right, here's your chance. Go to the moon now.
When's the last time they had a world champ who is under 30?
Go back to Orton?
No. Really?
Maybe.
I mean, again, that's a question that requires research that we don't have time to while doing the show live. But it was just a thought that crossed my head. Like, when's the last time? Because it felt like it happened so much during the Attitude Era.
Right.
You know, when Rock was young and Stone Cold and Triple H, when all those guys were a little bit younger. But I'm not even sure the last time they had a champ under 30.
Yeah, I mean, were the Shield guys? They probably were past 30.
It might be Roman
when they first were winning titles.
Yeah, so Roman's 39.
Okay, so probably.
So 10 years ago, did he win one?
That would be the only ones I could.
That's really close. That's really close.
God.
I mean, Seth is 38, so it had. I mean, Seth. Okay, we're getting closer. Seth had to have been a champ when he was still in his 20s. Okay, so it might be Seth.
There you go, but still a decade ago. God, that is rough. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a young star problem. Bray in 2017. I'm just looking back at, and granted, I don't know which title this is, but
yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, the quick Google search does say Randy Orton.
God.
So I guess Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Bray might have been right at 30 when he won his title, so maybe there. That is insane.
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Golly.
Yeah, so he won his first. No, I mean it would have been Seth because he won in 2015.
Okay.
It would have
a decade ago.
He won in 2015, so he would have been 29.
That's a decade.
He won at WrestleMania in 2015. He was born in 86. Yeah, but he would have been 29.
That's a long time.
So again, like it'd be a really good opportunity. Be a really good opportunity for Braun. Again, there's some moving parts around there that you would have to get John Cena back to the babyface.
Wow.
What do we got? Yeah, with that depressing note, what do we got?
Saturday night's main event in Tampa on Saturday. Sunday night in Phoenix, AEW takes over Double or Nothing in Glendale. We heard last night. We speculated about it last week. The main event will be the Owen final, Hangman versus Osprey. We've talked about this tournament. Now we're days away. Who wins the Owen on Sunday night?
Okay, first of all, hell of a promo between these two last night. Really good. Really good. I mean, it's probably one of the better. The promo to me almost kind of put it like, okay, this has to be the main event. And part of this is because of the Mox run has been underwhelming, but one of the better go home like promos in recent 100%. Memory in AEW. Like,
both
so
of
good
them,
on
I
that.
felt like took another step. The camera work at the end of them looking at the trophies, every part of that was unbelievable last night.
I think it's going to be Osprey. I want it to be him. I feel that's a little more unexpected, but also like, and I've talked about this before. It's if you're saving AEW and you're getting that championship back out there, honestly, the better story is the guy who's been there since day one. And that's Hangman. And again, that's no fault to Osprey. He's awesome. But I kind of feel like the character work that Hangman has done, like the way that he and Swerve Strickland elevated each other. Again, that's what we were just talking about with like the Cena thing. Like those two elevated each other. It's so hard for both those when Cena is one of those people involved to get people elevated. That's what Hangman and Swerve Strickland did. Like they were at a level, and both were former world champions. Like that's again, so they were pretty high up to the beginning. But to then take that next step of these guys are probably always going to be relevant, even when they don't have championships in AEW because of that feud. I think I want to see Hanger do it.
Yes, I agree with that part of it. I think it would be a better story. Even some of the little character stuff the last few months, the him and Swerve dynamic of I know. I think it was Swerve that said I know in the back. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Like makes me feel better. But I lean Osprey because I think Mox wins in July. I don't think he's dropping the belt. I think it's going to be a hell of a main event this weekend. Osprey wins, and then part of his story is, man, I can't win the big one. Like, I can't win the title. I can't beat Mox. You go 0-3 at that point, and they're just waiting for Darby to come down his mountain right now.
Oh, God. No, that again, I have been so anti that idea. But also, like, in order to win this, well, first of all, you're going to need help. So I don't know if we get a reunion of the elite, of Matthew and Nick turning on Mox, and that's going to help Hangman eventually win that championship. I don't know, but also like at the bare, and a little of this is unfair because Osprey has certainly shown a violent side with some of the matches, like cage matches he's had, but like Hangman has that violent side to him that I think would make for a really good matchup for that AEW World Championship with Moxley. Like you've got to meet the violence with violence, and Hangman, he's just got that edge to him. Like Osprey does not have that edge, and I feel like you need it in order to beat Moxley and make that actually mean something and have a worthwhile story of having that little edge of, okay,
right.
Hangman's crazy. He's a crazy man. Burn down another man's house, drink bourbon outside of it. This dude is crazy. He is willing to go to whatever length. Now, can he control that? Is that something that's uncontrollable within him that he, when it comes out, he can't control it? I think there are some interesting things you can do en route to it where, as great as Osprey is, he's still right now just kind of a generic.
Sure, but they told the story last night of him needing to beat Hangman to know how to beat Mox, and we've seen that a little bit of edge. I'm blanking on it too, but like that Tiger Driver, where like Osprey's like, no, I'm not going to do it. Was it Kenny he did it against? Like the fact that he did it was a moment, and I feel like they're saving it there.
Yes.
My one concern now coming out of this is what does happen with the loser of this match, because they feel almost rudderless and not having a direction.
Again, that's where I feel like Osprey can just continue to have just fantastic matches and just they'll figure it out, right? Like if go after the TNT title, go after whatever title, maybe become part of a tag team. I don't know. But yeah, for Hangman, I feel like he just needs it a little bit more at this point.
And that's the thing, and that's a credit to Hangman. Like we've talked about on this show, like him finishing his story and him winning the title is one of the best stories they've told in AEW. And that's because of Hangman, because of the stuff he's done on the mic and his character development. This would be along those same lines. I guess I have more confidence in him than turning a loss into something positive, as opposed to Osprey just getting lost and becoming like, all right, well, we know he's going to have a 5-star match.
Yeah. I mean, we're critical at times, and we have been critical throughout even this conversation about Mox. Good on them for building up this to make it as unpredictable as it is. Like, it's very rare in pro wrestling that you don't even at least have the inkling, right? Like, okay, I think we know where this is going and what's going to happen. So to truly have a match that's going to main event a pay-per-view that we, seriously, flip a coin right now. Like, I honestly don't, like, again, everything I know how I feel and who I want to win in terms of who I actually think is going to win is just kind of a flip of a coin right now. And good on AEW for being able to build something
and that
like
adds to the intrigue of Sunday. Like, every false finish, like, oh, this is the one. Like, he won. It's like, oh, no, we're still going. We got another 10 minutes in us. And it also adds to the pay-per-view is going to end on a good note. Like, the fans are going to be into it either way. There's not going to be disappointment. Unless it's a schmozzy finish, which I don't see, but hopefully we're not. But like, we'll feel good at the end of the night.
Well, because isn't part of the Owen? There's not supposed to be interference.
It's wrestling logic, yeah.
Again, it's pro wrestling, so it's pro wrestling. So I understand that doesn't.
Is it though, or is that more the Continental Classic?
It's the Continental Classic. I think I'm confusing tournaments.
I don't know. And I don't know what interference would look like. I guess Don Callis family, like, hopefully none of that. But, like, we're going to end the night feeling good. And it's one of those shows, you look at the card, we know AEW pay-per-views deliver. It's not their strongest. Like, it's very top-heavy. There's some holes where it's like, all right, do we need to see Dustin Rhodes on a pay-per-view? But, like, the end of the night, we are going to be feeling good from this match because it's going to be a hell of a match, and it's going to be a fun match where you don't know who's winning.
But that match, I think, is still going to deliver.
Sure, it should.
Hurt Syndicate and Dustin really, because Dustin can still, like, Dustin's still got a little bit in him. Like, it's not like he's just wandering around there. Although, again, watching those two as a tag team show up the last couple of weeks, just, man, has Sammy Guevara fallen. Remember when he was in that four
remember he was
match?
one of those pillars. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's part of a tag team called the Sons of Texas.
He didn't even get to talk. He just stands there. Dustin's like, oh, I got it. You just stand there.
But like, I mean, Tony Storm versus Mina is going to be
but
great.
like that, you talk about not knowing a finish. Like Tony's winning. I mean, I guess
Correct.
the intrigue, which I
Correct.
feel like is just Twitter speculation, is somehow Mariah May is swerving us and she's not going to WWE. Yeah. So
It would be sick. It'd be so sick. I mean, FTR versus Danny Garcia and Nigel. It's gonna be fun. I think Anarchy. When has Anarchy in the arena?
Correct. It's gonna have its moment. I'm glad it's not the main event. I'm not sure who's in it.
Well, and it's the perfect. It's the perfect thing for so I believe it's Kenny, Swerve, Willow, and Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, Mox, Claudio, Marina, and the Young
Right.
Bucks.
So they did that on the graphic last night. I think Shibata also is part of that because all the Death Riders.
So are Shibata and Yuta both in it?
But Gabe Kidd's not in the graphic.
Okay. Yeah, but he's gonna get involved.
In it, but not in it. Like, I guess, does Hook return?
Correct. Yeah. He's not advertised, but he's going to interfere because it's Anarchy in the arena.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. I think we're at. Like,
okay,
all right.
It's just gonna be again. It's Anarchy. It's gonna be. It's a perfect spot for Jon Moxley.
I also think from that match, I think Willow's gonna come out looking the best. She's gonna do something crazy. Whether it's with Mox or like she's gonna put someone through a table or do something where it's like, holy shit, look at Willow. Like I feel like she's the one that can shine the brightest here.
Well, especially because if she does something to Marina, like Marina is really good at selling. I think she's good at selling death. So I think there's going to be something crazy that happens there. And
Willow's I think she does it to one of the men. I mean, we saw her put Mox through a table a few weeks ago. So I think we see something there.
Claudio?
Does she swing Claudio?
Puts Claudio through a table? Oh my God. Oh.
I know.
Can you imagine? The crowd going crazy if she swings Claudio? That would be crazy. That would be awesome. So yeah, it's going to be a fun pay-per-view. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. So
the other one.
So what's your official prediction? Is your official prediction it's going to be Osprey and then Osprey goes on to lose? I hate you. Not for the Osprey part, but the part where Osprey goes on.
The other one I'll throw out is the women's side as surefire. Who's going to win? Mercedes versus Hayter.
Yeah, because I don't think the first and so Mercedes has lost one of her championships, but that didn't happen on AEW television. So I don't think her first loss is going to be to Jamie Hayter. Although it would be a big run for Jamie. And like get her back on track. Because she's been good. Because since Jamie's come back, like again, Jamie as champion, fantastic. But after she get from the injury, she's kind of been there.
So the case I'd make for her though, if Mercedes wins, then you're tying up both women's titles at All In. Because you would have her and Tony in the same match. And Hayter and Tony, there's still stories to tell there. So maybe we get an upset there and we do Hayter versus Tony and then Mercedes versus someone else in Dallas.
Right. Which would be fantastic. Like, because you know that Hayter versus Tony is going to be fun. Like, I think they can tell a good story. They can draw on past. Like,
even if it's not clean. Like, if somehow someone interferes and that sets up Mercedes' next match, like Athena, maybe we do that in Dallas, and that's how Hayter win. I think that's fine. I think everyone ends up looking good in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we actually get to see Athena on a pay-per-view. I'd sign up for that fantasy booking. What do we got news and notes this week, Brian?
Some TV news. Roku has announced that they will have a new wrestling channel. It'll be called Wrestling Central. The NWA and WOW Women of Wrestling will be cornerstones plus, quote, classic episodes, never before seen matches, specials, and documentaries. Yeah.
Good. Good for them. I mean, the Roku channel trying to build out a little bit of a portfolio and got to start somewhere. The fact that where NWA, I think, kind of went wrong was in this like pursuit of they wanted this live TV deal. And I know that was something that the old OVW wanted, you know, when you're going back to the wrestlers documentary, they're looking for weekly television. But in today's day and age, and we were just talking about this a little bit before we started the show, Brian, like the fact that with the weird thing that happened with Collision, where the last 30 minutes was gone because of a technical glitch on the East Coast, and then it played in full on the West, but Collision was available apparently for only a limited time on the Max app because now it's not there anymore. I don't know why you wouldn't want your stuff living on demand somewhere, given how content is consumed in 2025. And this way, like if I wanted to watch, I am more now likely to watch. The only time I would have ever been watching WoW is if I'm flipping around on Saturday and there's nothing else on and I happen to, here's the channel it is on locally here in Milwaukee. Like actually knowing there's a place I can go to watch it and knowing that it's there living on demand. I think that's good for these smaller companies like WoW.
I literally did that with WoW last weekend in a hotel room, flipping through. I'm like, oh, look at this. Like I'll watch this. And I watched like their main event. The other stuff is just like push it out there, like get it as many places as possible. This is good for the NWA to be able to have an opportunity where you know where to find it. Roku, I feel like, is a lot more accessible. We made the joke with Impact. I see stuff on Twitter. I'm like, oh, I want to watch that. Like, where do I watch Impact? Like, I don't
have access. Literally don't have access.
So that hinders them in that department. But we'll see if it does something for them. Obviously, I think it's a win. The other thing, TV-wise, we talked about Double or Nothing. If you watch it on Triller, you're probably not doing that this week. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, Triller, pretty bad financial state. Their stock right now is under $1 per share. They need someone to buy them right now because, quote, they're in trouble. Said AEW Double or Nothing, not on Triller. If you want to watch it, it'll be on Prime or YouTube, apparently.
So I'm gonna have to figure that out because I've been doing Bleacher Report, and now obviously they don't even do that anymore. So it was all on Triller, and like they took all of the old pay-per-views and put it on the Triller app that I had previously purchased, and it was so convenient. They did the like the last 4 AEW pay-per-views, they like packaged together, and they did 2 packs, and you got like it was only $5 or $10, but still got saved a little bit of money on the 2 pay-per-views combined. The question is, who is more sad, you when Triller disappears? Or me when Rampage went away.
Triller just has so much random stuff. Like a lot of these indie shows, I stream to Triller. Like it's my go-to. Like you still get to see Rampage. You sort of had a Rampage-esque main event last night on Dynamite. Like not having Triller, hopefully it'd be replaced. Like that'd be pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just not the same without Mark Henry saying it's time.
How else would you know it was the main event?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Elsewhere in the AEW world, Darby Allin has reached the top of Mount Everest and planted an AEW flag, literally at the top of Everest. He has started his descent, and according to websites, it can take anywhere from a couple of days to a week to get down to the bottom. So way to go, Darby.
Yeah, congratulations, and good on you for standing for your company. Glad you were able to accomplish a lifelong goal. Now let's get back into the ring.
I don't know what the process is like after. Like, do you almost have to detox from being up there, or if he gets down on Saturday morning, do we see him in Arizona Sunday?
God, if he shows up, he's just doing his suicide dive, just using his body as a battering ram.
Karrion Kross has gotten a lot of social media attention recently. He was on the Ariel Helwani podcast, says he's not disgruntled, said, quote, he's just really, really hungry. So he did get a standing ovation backstage after that promo on social.
Which they haven't really followed up on.
He gets pops on main event and his shirt's selling well.
I thought he was a Triple H guy. I'm not sure what the hell's going on.
Very weird. He even brought up, he was about to get his hair cut in December to donate his hair, but WWE's like, yeah, it's fine. Let's just do it as a story. And they just never came up with a story. It's just all these little things. What are we doing?
It's really weird. Really, really, really strange.
And finally, in news and notes, Deadline reports Roman Reigns is in talks to be part of the live-action Street Fighter remake. Jason Momoa also would be part of that cast.
I believe he was playing a villain. He would be playing a villain from the Street Fighter 2 video game, from what I saw. I don't remember much about the Street Fighter movie franchise, but I remember playing the game as a kid.
And it was Roman just has that it. I feel like him as a movie star would work. I think all his stuff.
Yeah, especially as a big old bad guy.
I don't know if he's spoken much in a lot of it. I know he's been Fast and Furious with The Rock, and I believe something else, but he's just sort of there. So this could be a real role for him.
No, he's good.
Yeah.
It's a good presence to have. All right, what'd you have? Match of the week.
I got a lot of WWE, which I'm not often to having, but yeah. So
Ooh.
a couple from SmackDown. I enjoyed the main event of Nia and Tiffy. Got a little bloody, had a couple missed spots, but I think it was fun, and those two shined.
Okay.
And the tag match, Fraxium versus DIY. It's like, hey, let's just throw two really good tag teams out there and let them wrestle, and good things happen. Very surprising.
Well, that's what you have to do when you have a
Yes.
3-hour show. Like when you got a 3-hour show, you got to figure out a way to like get through and survive. So yeah, that's
Yeah. And then
that's
the other one I had from Raw, one of the
smart.
qualifying matches, Roxanne, Becky, and Natty.
Yeah, Roxanne. Yeah, I honestly, I may have to turn into some of this NWA
Yeah.
stuff for Natty. Like I keep seeing it on social media. She keeps pumping it. Like I'm excited for that. I thought that, yeah, Roxanne, Natty, and Becky was really good. And then obviously Roxanne qualifying because Lyra interferes. I had
also
that down
said,
as
though,
well.
in terms of that finish, like once they got out Becky, like I didn't know which way they were going. Like I thought they were going to give Natty the moment,
Yeah.
like, all right, here you go. You get to at least be in this match. And then Roxanne wins. They're like, oh, okay. Like there's a young stars. At least they have young stars in the women's division.
Chicago Street Fight from Collision was a lot of fun. And then I had the All-Star Tag match from last night. I thought it was a lot of fun and a good match there. So I would add those two AEW to the list of potential match of the week. But I think my favorite was Roxanne, Natalia, and Becky.
They've been doing a lot of Roxanne on Raw.
A lot of fun.
Good for them. That's right.
Oh, damn time. Make sure you check out all of our content. If you happen to miss the interview, you heard Shawn Michaels earlier. Check it out on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@GoodKarmaWrestling. I hope everybody has a fantastic Memorial Day full of wrestling because, again, that's exactly what we got. We got a Saturday Night Main Event. We got an AEW pay-per-view. We've got Raw on Memorial Day. Enjoy.